Imagine hearing it before you could see it. A deep metallic blow rolls across a river valley, then another answers from the darkness. The sound comes from an object almost waist-high, cast in bronze, heavy enough to demand a team of people, and covered with a crowded world of boats, birds, dancers, buildings, and geometric patterns. These are the bronze drums associated with the Đông Sơn tradition of northern Vietnam. They are musical instruments, certainly, but they are also feats of engineering, prestige objects, ritual companions, and historical documents. Today, we are going to read one of these drums from the inside out, how it was made, what its surface shows, why it traveled, and why honest history must leave room for uncertainty. The name Đông Sơn can sound like the name of a kingdom. It is not. It comes from a modern village and archaeological site in northern Vietnam, first excavated in the early 20th century. The people who made these objects left no surviving written account telling us what they called themselves. Archaeologists therefore use Đông Sơn as a convenient label for a material tradition centered around the Red River region and visible across many sites. The classic drums are usually dated broadly between about 500 BCE and 100 CE, though related forms continued for longer. That broad range matters. It reminds us that this was not a single workshop producing one frozen design. It was a living tradition that changed across centuries, communities, and routes. Now picture the workshop. There is no electric furnace, no digital thermometer, and no crane. There is clay, charcoal, air forced into a roaring fire, prepared metal, molds, and experience earned the dangerous way. A full-sized drum could be enormous and weigh close to 100 kilograms. Its top, barrel, body, and flaring foot had to emerge as a coherent object, with thin decorated surfaces and controlled thickness. Scholars discuss both piece mold and lost wax methods in Southeast Asian bronze production. Either way, the challenge is breathtaking. Heat the alloy, control the pour, keep the mold from failing, let the metal cool, then break away the clay and discover whether months of work survived. One hidden crack could turn ceremony into scrap. The technology tells us more than the temperature of molten bronze. It implies organization. Someone gathered copper and tin or other alloying material. Someone prepared fuel. Specialists built the core and mold. Workers coordinated the pour, while patrons or leaders supplied labor and resources. A monumental drum was therefore a social machine before it became a musical one. Its very existence announced that a community could command expertise and concentrate wealth. That helps explain why drums may have carried political authority as well as sound. But we should resist imagining a single royal factory. Production knowledge could move between workshops, and communities could imitate, adapt, or commission forms for their own purposes. Technology travels through people, not through neat arrows on a modern map. Look down at the tympanum, the great circular playing surface. At the center is usually a many-rayed star or sun-like form. Around it, concentric bands organize the eye, repeated geometry, flying birds, animals, houses, boats, and human figures. It is tempting to decode that central star as a literal sun and build an entire religion around it. Some scholars have proposed solar or natural symbolism, but the makers left no caption. The responsible answer is that the motif was important, repeated, and visually dominant. Its precise ancient meaning remains debated. That uncertainty is not a weakness. It is the boundary between evidence and invention. What we can say confidently is that the drum turns imagery into rhythm, circles repeat, figures move, and the design seems to pulse. The celebrated Ngoc Lu drum offers a remarkable clue. On its surface, figures appear on a raised platform, striking drums below them with long sticks. The object refers to its own performance, a drum showing people how drums were played. Nearby scenes include feathered figures, musicians, weavers, people pounding grain, stilted structures, and animals. These images do not provide a camera recording of one day. They are selected, stylized, and arranged. Even so, they preserve actions that written chronicles never recorded. We see labor beside ceremony, architecture beside movement. The drum becomes a document made of images rather than sentences. When it was struck, the pictures of performance and the real performance met in the same object. So what were the drums for? The most honest answer is plural. They produced sound. Their scale and decoration made them prestigious. Some were placed in elite burials. They may have accompanied ceremonies, funerals, harvest observances, warfare, or political gatherings. Different drums could have served different communities, and the same drum could change meaning during a long life. A gift might become an heirloom, an instrument might become grave furniture, a political emblem might later be treated as an ancestral object. Museum labels like a single function because labels must be brief. Ancient lives were not. When evidence supports several overlapping roles, choosing only one creates a cleaner story but a poorer history. The geography is as striking as the metalwork. Đông Sơn-type drums and related forms have been found far beyond northern Vietnam, across mainland Southeast Asia, in southern China, through Malaysia, and deep into island Southeast Asia. The Metropolitan Museum notes both objects produced in Vietnam and examples made locally elsewhere. That distinction is crucial. A drum could travel as cargo or prestige gift. A specialist could carry knowledge. A local workshop could copy the form while changing its decoration. Communities were not passive recipients waiting for culture to arrive. They selected, reworked, and embedded objects in local histories. Distribution shows connection, but every find also asks a local question. Who wanted this form here, and what did they make it mean? On a map, hundreds of widely scattered finds can look like the outline of a vast state. That is a dangerous shortcut. Similar objects do not automatically prove one ruler controlled every coast where they appear. Trade, marriage, migration, pilgrimage, diplomacy, raiding, gift exchange and moving craftspeople can all spread forms without creating a single empire. The drums reveal a region already connected before many surviving written histories begin, but connection was uneven. Routes shifted. Objects changed hands. Copies became local. The more useful image is not a colored block on a political map. It is a web of river valleys, ports, boats, workshops and communities, each making choices about what to preserve and what to transform. Many drums have been recovered from burials, including elite contexts. Once an object enters a grave, its meaning changes or perhaps reaches its most important moment. Burial can display status, honor an ancestor, protect a community, or send valued things into another realm. Some Southeast Asian finds place drums near boat-shaped coffins, encouraging scholars to explore relationships between sound, water, ancestors and passage. These interpretations are compelling, but they remain arguments built from context rather than translated testimony. Looting and accidental discovery have also destroyed information: where an object lay, what surrounded it and whether it was intentionally damaged. Archaeology is not only about finding things. It is about preserving relationships between things. Before long-written chronicles describe much of this world, the drums already show boats moving through water, houses lifted above ground, people producing food, musicians performing and animals circling a central design. We cannot treat every scene as literal reportage, yet neither should we dismiss it as decoration. Images shape memory. Repeated on bronze, they make certain actions and relationships durable. A wooden house decays. Cloth disappears. A spoken story may vanish. Cast bronze can endure burial, weather, and political change. That durability is why these drums now carry an unfair burden. We ask a surviving object to speak for countless fragile things that did not survive. Its answer is powerful, but incomplete. It is easy to admire the drum as a masterpiece behind glass and forget that it was built to be handled. Bronze alone is silent. People lifted it, positioned it, struck it, watched it, inherited it, and perhaps buried it. Its authority came from performance. Imagine the first blow, a bright attack followed by a low metallic resonance, heard by bodies gathered nearby. The sound could summon, warn, celebrate, or mourn depending on the moment. That human relationship is what turns technology into culture. The drum is not simply an ancient speaker. It is a meeting point between metalworkers, patrons, performers, communities, and ancestors, between the living hands that made sound and the images that made memory. The Đông Sơn drums survive because they joined several kinds of power in one form: technical skill, spectacle, sound, imagery, memory, and movement across distance. They do not reveal a simple empire, a single religion, or one unchanging function. They reveal something more interesting: a connected Southeast Asia in which communities exchanged objects and ideas while making them local. The next time you see a bronze drum in a museum, begin at the center, follow the bands outward, and then imagine the sound traveling farther than the object itself. Which detail would you investigate first? The star, the boats, the dancers, or the people striking drums on the surface of a drum? Tell us below.